This is Bob Johnson, Master of Ceremonies of the May 20th French Legion of Honor presentation to World War II veterans First Lieutenant Fernando Torres and Private First Class Oscar Stein, held at the Residence of France in Beverly Hills. The video was privately made and is in several sections. The first part shows some scenes of the garden setup, followed by the anthems which were added after the ceremony. We are grateful to Landon Holbrook, the grandson of Fernando Torres, for taping the garden ceremony. Here is the setup for the ceremony before the guests arrive. The beautiful table settings. Here are the chairs for the honorees and the Consul General, and the flags, the American, the French, and the European Union flag. Podium. A beautiful pool in the background. And the program initially was honoring very few veterans first couple of years. Then they opened it up to all veterans that have proof of service in France, all living veterans. And I know there have been thousands and thousands that have been awarded in the United States. There's been a long-standing cooperation between the United States and France. France honors our World War II veterans today and our World War I veterans in the past. And we cannot forget how they have helped us when we were struggling for our independence. We remember the support they gave us struggling for our independence. In 1781, French naval and marine forces helped turn the tide against the battle against the British, and they were defeated at Yorktown. In 2007, we celebrated the 250th anniversary of the Marquis de Lafayette. There's probably a town in every state named after Lafayette. And I learned a few years back, at 19 years of age, Lafayette was the youngest general officer ever to serve in our armed forces at 19. He was quite a military strategist.
Wow.
And we cannot forget our most important gift from France, the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
I'd like to now introduce our special guest, the Honorable, I'd like to first bring up Consul General Duhaut-Bedos to give us a brief welcome. Julie?
Mr. Robert Wunderlich, Mayor of Beverly Hills, Mr. Thomas Ruck, U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, Mrs. Stephanie Stone, Chief Deputy Director, Department of Military and Veteran Affairs, Los Angeles County, Lieutenant Colonel Robert Johnson, dear Bob, Honorable Veterans, First Lieutenant Fernando Torres, Private First Class Oscar Stein, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends and families. Thank you all for being here. It is a great pleasure and an incredible honor for me as the Consul General of France in Los Angeles to welcome you to the residence of France for a very special ceremony to pay tribute to two outstanding men. Having arrived in Los Angeles last September in the midst of the pandemic, it is a very special event for me as it is my first Légion d'honneur award ceremony here. So a warm welcome to each and every one of you.
I'd like to now introduce our special guests. From the federal government, we are pleased to have with us from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, Mr. Thomas Ruck. He's the Strategic Planning Officer on the Executive Leadership Team at the Long Beach Healthcare Center, and he was instrumental in helping us get TV coverage for this event and for other veterans. Thank you, Tom. From the county, representing the Los Angeles County Department of Military Veterans Affairs, we're pleased to have Ms. Stephanie Stone, Chief Deputy Director, and she is also a retired Navy officer. Thank you for your service. From the city government, we're pleased to have from the city of Beverly Hills, Mayor Robert Wunderlich. Welcome, Mayor. Do we have any other veterans here? If we do, thank you for your service. We will now go into our presentations, the most important part of this ceremony. I'd like to call up Consul General Julie Duhaut-Bedos.
Wow.
In September 2020, Ms. Duhaut-Bedos took up her current post as Consul General of France in Los Angeles with jurisdiction over Southern California, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Southern Nevada, pretty much the southwest of the United States. Her previous posting was as Deputy Ambassador at the French Embassy in Canberra, Australia. Ms. Duhaut-Bedos was awarded the distinction of the Knight in the French National Order of Merit in 2019. She is a career diplomat. Please welcome Julie Duhaut-Bedos.
Thank you, Bob. Distinguished guests, we are gathered today to confer the Legion of Honor to two remarkable men in recognition of their service to France. As you may know, the Légion d'honneur was created by Napoleon Bonaparte more than 200 years ago. Actually, yesterday marked the 219th anniversary of its creation. It is the highest and most prestigious French award a person can receive. To confer such a medal to an individual is thus a most solemn occasion and is a way in which France pays tribute to remarkable men and women, citizens of France and of other nations around the world. This medal is of high importance to France, to its people, to its institutions, and its government. It is a way to express beyond words the gratitude of my country to all these men and women. The two men that we wish to recognize today, First Lieutenant Fernando Torres and Private First Class Oscar Stein, are outstanding and without a doubt great friends of France. Their actions on the battlefield are an undeniable testament to this. Fernando Torres and Oscar Stein, 77 years ago, in June 1944, you both landed on Omaha Beach through the rough tides of the sea. These young men were remarkably brave as the rough waves of the sea hit, and so did the waves of anxiety and uncertainty as to what awaited them on the shore. Fernando Torres, you landed on Omaha Beach on June 7 with Company A of the 17th Signal Operations Battalion, providing indispensable communication support not only to the Army units in Normandy, but on the other units based in northern France, Rhineland, Ardennes, Alsace, and Central Europe. Mr. Torres, I know you were invited 2 years ago to attend the 75th anniversary of D-Day in Saint-Lô. And I cannot imagine the emotion you must have felt coming back to these beaches. Oscar Stein, after fleeing with your family from Austria under the Nazi occupation to the US, you were drafted into the US Army in April 1943. You were deployed to England in late 1943 and landed on Omaha Beach on June 10, 1944, with the 3rd Battalion, 18th Infantry Regiment of the 1st Infantry Division. And you remained with this battalion in several military campaigns in Normandy, northern France, Rhineland, Ardennes, Alsace, and Central Europe until the end of the war. France has not forgotten these American young men, like you, who demonstrated their selflessness, generosity, and unwavering bravery and courage, whilst under fire by the enemy. France has not forgotten and will forever remember the soldiers who have lost their lives during those terrible battles. Honorable veterans, you were not only fighters, you had become our liberators, no longer merely living men, but heroes, and a symbol of our common values, the spirit of resistance, the spirit of liberty, and the spirit of friendship. Today, in the name of the French Republic, and in front of your families and friends, I'd like to assure you that we have not forgotten your personal commitment 77 years ago, and we have remained grateful. We owe you our freedom. It is therefore an honor, and above all a great privilege for me to meet you. And although I don't think anyone from my generation, who has always lived in times of peace, can truly imagine all the things you went through and faced. We are truly grateful for the way you faced your destiny, as it would have required incredible courage, a strong sense of duty, and of self-sacrifice for this. I would like to express our gratitude with a single word in French. A word that is not used enough, but which contains a wealth of meaning. Gratitude, acknowledgement, and friendship, of course. Merci. Well, it's time now to bestow the Legion of Honor upon you.
I will be calling up both veterans, first in order of rank. They will step forward, face the Consul General, and we will pin on the medal, and then they will turn to the audience for pictures. First Lieutenant Fernando Torres, front and center.
Au nom du président de la République, nous vous remettons les insignes chevaliers de la Légion d'honneur. Merci beaucoup.
Private First Class Oscar Stein, front and center. Private First Class Oscar Stein was born in Duhaut, Poland in July 1923, but when a week old, his family moved to Vienna, Austria. He landed on Omaha Beach on June 10, 1944, assigned to the 3rd Battalion, 18th Infantry Regiment of the 1st Infantry Division. His significant decorations include the Bronze Star Medal, the EAME Campaign Medal with 5 battle stars, the Combat Infantry Badge, and the French Fourragère. Oscar and his family and his wife Maria reside in Sherman Oaks, California.
Au nom du président de la République, nous vous remettons les insignes de chevalier de la Légion d'honneur.
Oscar, you can sit. I'm going to read his bio. I'm going to call him. Can you bring? I did read his little bio. We're going to do that. Just stand with this medal. I'll read it. I forgot. I didn't read his bio.
I think he wants you to come back over.
I'm sorry.
He's coming.
You want me to
No,
sit
no.
down?
You can sit down. Just face it this way. First Lieutenant Fernando A. Torres, U.S. Army Reserves, was born in Monterrey, Mexico in May 1922. He landed on Omaha Beach on June 7, 1944, with Company A of the 17th Signal Operations Battalion. His significant decorations include the EAME Campaign Medal with 5 battle stars, the World War II Victory Medal, and the Good Conduct Medal. Fernando and his wife Gail make their home in West Covina, California. I'm now pleased to invite up from Los Angeles County, Ms. Stephanie Stone, retired naval officer, to make a presentation. Stephanie?
In my hand I hold 2 challenge coins from the County of Los Angeles. The challenge coin is given to an honored member of the community or shipmate to welcome them back into our community. Back in the day, I'll just give you a short story. Back in the day, we would present the challenge coin in a palm. It's given through a handshake. And when they return back to the community, we expect them to have that coin with them. Otherwise, they buy the rounds. So I just give the families fair warning.
Thank you,
What I'd
ma'am.
like-
Thank you, ma'am.
What I would like to say is, on behalf of a grateful nation and the County of Los Angeles, I'll present the challenge coins to our gentlemen.
Oh, wow.
They look so cute.
It's my pleasure now to call up Major Wunderlich to make some brief remarks. Mayor?
Thank you. It's my great honor to be here today to celebrate our relationship with France and our honorees today, First Lieutenant Torres and Private First Class Stein. My father served in World War II, although in the Pacific. My wife's father, Dr. Jerry Spatz, landed at Normandy on June 9th. And I've been to Normandy, and it is awe-inspiring to stand there on the cliffs with row after row of the graves in the cemetery in back of you. And it also evokes a feeling, it evokes that feeling of self-sacrifice and cooperation that was present then and that we could aspire to today. And so thank you, gentlemen, for your service, and thank you for the opportunity to be here today.
Thank you, Mayor Wunderlich. I'd now like to invite up Oscar Stein to give us a few reflections of gratitude.
Doesn't go anymore without glasses and hearing aids. I've been asked to say a few words. I'd like to express my thanks to France for recognizing the sacrifices my battalion made during the numerous battles it waged throughout France. Over the years, my fellow veteran, Fernando Torres, and I have had occasion to return to France, to the beaches where we landed and the areas where we served, and being received with open and welcoming arms by its local residents. When, after the Normandy breakthrough, we set out racing after Germans for those many weeks until we reached Germany, and on from there until the total defeat of and surrender by Germany, I had never looked on my buddies and myself as heroes, or even heroic. With more than a half century and 2 decades of added wisdom, I have now learned what only advanced age can teach. All of my buddies during those fighting years who have laid their lives on the line are exceptional and noble heroes and should be held in awe by a grateful world. Fernando and I especially appreciate the great honor France bestowed upon us in awarding us the Legion of Honor Medal. We will always treasure it and look upon it as a symbol of an everlasting friendship between the countries of France and the United States of America. We would also like to thank the Consul General of Los Angeles for arranging this ceremony in her own lovely home a most personal venue. And on a more personal note, I cannot forget that today also happens to be my and my wife's 56th wedding anniversary. God bless America.
That's right.
Vive la France.
Thank you, Oscar, for such memorable and inspiring words. Thank you very much. We had a number of people that helped make this happen. We're pleased to have ABC7 here today to record this and be part of the Memorial Day commemoration coming up. The French Consulate in Los Angeles, in particular Emily Inestorza, Julie's assistant, and the resident staff in Beverly Hills, Chef David Picard, who prepared this wonderful food for us today, Severine, and my good friend Bonnie, whom I've known. He's worked here for 27 years and I've known him for 23. So thank you very much to the French Consulate. All the honorees and their families for helping put together the bios and the interesting anecdotes that you have. It's been a pleasure for me to do this. I am so honored. These are my heroes from the greatest generation. I'd like to call up Tom Ruck. He's going to give us a little brief rundown on the production that's going on TV and tell us what's going to happen.
Before we do that, I'd like to say thank you to Bob Johnson for all the years he's been doing this for France and America. Bob, thank you. Real quickly, I received a call 2.5 months ago from ABC saying, "Hey Tom, it's Memorial Day again. What are we going to do this year?" Last year we did a 1-hour live program from 4 stages on Memorial Day at Los Angeles National Cemetery. I'm still tired from that year. So I said, but I'm not at the cemetery, I'm at the hospital. They said, put something together. And since we were going to pre-record everything, thank you, Dave, we had to make this ceremony part of the program. The relationship between France and America is one that we're never going to forget. We've both been there for each other, and I think this is one of the most greatest events ever. I had the opportunity to be at one in St. Mary Glees on the 72nd anniversary. And I was standing next to, I guess he's called an assemblyman, Claude Gatineau. And we were singing both anthems, and we both had tears coming down our eyes. But we both said to each other, what are we going to do in 10 or 15 years when there's not any World War II vets alive? I believe France will still be honoring this day for a long time. I just hope we can do the same here. The program that you're seeing being recorded has been recorded for 5 or 6 days to create a program on Memorial Day morning. It will show at 11:30 now on Monday morning, about 11:32 actually probably. And it'll be a half-hour program, so you'll be able to see snips of this and the other things going on. So it's Monday, Memorial Day, 11:30 till 12 on Channel 7. Please listen, and thank you all, and thank you. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Now, this is the one opportunity